It's the Exit 52 podcast presented by Jimmy Seafood, the only Baltimore podcast with a host that met Shooter McGavin this week. Banks down in Atlanta for the Tour Championship, moving and shaking with all of golf's biggest and brightest stars, playing video games, talking to Shooter, talking to Colin Morikawa. Big golf week for you, Banks. I don't know what else happened before that, but clearly down at East Lake, that's sort of the big happening in the golf world right now. So props to you. Big stuff happening down there.
We'll talk about East Lake now, maybe something else later. It's been a tremendous experience out here. 2K Sports reached out late last week and said, hey, we're doing a demo day for our video game. We'd love to have you come down, play it, give some thoughts on it, shoot some video, and hang out with some of these guys. And the game itself is tremendous. It's so good. If anybody who played PGA Tour 2K21, I think would say, okay, this is 2K's first foray into a golf video game. It's more of a stepping stone into a new world for them. It was a good game. I enjoyed playing it a lot. Still play it here and there. I think Eric does the same. This game is that next big step. And I think putting Tiger Woods on the cover really cements that, really brings it home. Tiger's involved with the development and some of the content in the game and everything. And the gameplay is unbelievable. I'm not just blowing smoke because this is a partner of Barstool Sports. It truly is just like unbelievable, like next level golf video game like we've never seen before. I'm so excited for everybody else to see. It's coming out in early October. But anyways, yeah, spent the day pretty much hanging out with Shooter McGavin. Guy could not be more like on brand, more of the character, because he's playing the character, because he's meeting people and greeting people and creating buzz and excitement for the game and everything. But he was tremendous. The guy is awesome. Honestly, he throws out a cuss word every other word, at least when he's talking to MRAGs and I, a couple Barstool guys. But he was just like on the entire time. At one point I walked out and he was out on the kind of the patio area, and I think he may have been doing cameos, which was also tremendous. The guy is such a legend. And that's why every time he gets caught, he was telling me like, oh, that Barstool Sports, man, love you guys. Didn't love you guys posting a video of me smoking a bong that one time. Or like, man, these kids just love recording videos. They keep their phone down here on their hip. Like they can't, like, I can't see it. Like they're sneaky, man. Yeah, he was awesome. Colin Morikawa was also awesome. He played a bunch of holes with us, answered a bunch of questions about the video game. He's excited about it. He'll be in the game along with a lot of other players. But overall, just coming down here and checking out the Tour Championship, getting media credentials for it, for me personally, awesome experience. Couldn't be happier. I'm having a great time. Going to hit the tournament a little bit tomorrow on Thursday before heading back to Baltimore. It's great stuff. I'm over the moon about it. So it's been a fun week.
Yeah, it's very cool. I do love that Shooter is a Shooter. I mean, I think, what's his real name? Christopher McDonald or something?
Chris McDonald, yeah.
I think at that point you just have to play Shooter McGavin in your whole life.
Can you name one other movie he's been in?
He was like the dad in the Leave It to Beaver relaunch that happened at some point in the early 90s or mid 90s.
Yeah.
He was also the character in Ballers that was basically the Dallas franchise's owner. He was basically a Jerry Jones type in Ballers. So,
but again, it's like you think of him like he's a big actor. Like I would say he's a big name actor, but it's like
everybody knows his face.
He's Shooter McGavin. Like there's no like, oh yeah, he was in that. He was in this. He's just Shooter. Like that's what he is.
So we had this video idea, and we brought it to him towards the end of the day. We had this idea because he was wearing this red 2K jacket the entire time. We had this idea of having one of the 2K Sports guys go with a hanger and like go to present it to him. And then we were just going to snatch it and run away. And then have somebody else, like the 2K guy or somebody, just chasing us with the old, the heave-ho.
Slow-mo, Mr. Larson.
That Mr. Larson was doing. And it was actually the closest thing I could see from him kind of like pulling back the curtain a little bit. He was, first of all, he had a plate of food in front of him. He was just trying to eat a little bit. And we were kind of shooting the shit with them and hanging out and everything. But he was just like, I I don't remember what the actor's name is, but he was like, Mr. Larson, he passed away a few years ago. And I think about him in that role and him in that scene. He couldn't run. He had bad knees from, this, that, and the other. And that scene, the slow motion, him chugging his arms up and down, they actually had to put him in like an office chair of sorts and roll him to take that shot because he literally couldn't run. And he was just like, almost like tearing up talking about it because he
It's like getting emotional talking about Mr.
Yeah,
Life.
he did. And so he was like, so that's what's in my heart.
I mean,
it's
both of their defining moments on screen in their careers.
Yeah, he said, well, that guy was a Bond villain at one point. I don't know if you knew that.
He was Jaws, I think, right?
Jaws,
Oh yeah. That's great.
But anyways,
point.
Chris McDonald was just like, that's what's in my heart in this moment when you're coming up with this idea. So let me think about it. And then by the end of the day, it just like didn't happen. But if we created that video, it would have just done so many numbies. So I just want to put it out in the universe that I had this idea to do this video, but can't win a ball.
I'm trying to remember him. He was in a Disney Channel original movie that I cannot remember.
I think so too. I think it may have been Leave It to Beaver. I know they did some sort of relaunch, either a TV series or a movie, and he was the dad in it.
Leave It to Beaver Reloaded.
Was he like
the remix?
The dad in like Richie Rich or something?
That sounds right.
I think he was something in a movie called Lemonade Mouth, which had Bridget Mendler in it. That's not a movie you guys are gonna know.
What?
It is a Disney Channel original movie, Lemonade Mouth. It's about like a high school. It's about like a high school band that comes together through like being in detention or something. This is song Determinate. It's kind of a banger. I need one listener to tweet at me if they recognize that movie. I will be
shocked if
I would love for that to happen.
If any other listeners have.
This isn't a nice string for the podcast. I feel like RDT a couple weeks ago had the Cal Ripken thing, which was like, really cool. Like you got to kind of stretch your legs there, to talk to Cal Ripken, get that done. And now Banks is out there covering the Tour Championship. It's a very good job by you guys. Very good hustle.
Yeah,
doing the things you love to do. Yeah, I got to figure out something to do.
You and Demi, maybe you can do do something.
Demi was on Call Her Daddy. I need to listen to that. I need to listen to that. Yeah, it came out today.
Did you know Christopher McDonald was in The League?
No. I didn't watch a lot of The League.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I didn't watch a lot of The League, though.
He's got a credit for Grease, too, which I didn't even know existed.
Oh, yeah.
R.I.P. Olivia Newton-John.
Very true. Rip.
Yeah, it happened recently.
Legend.
Yeah, maybe we can get Demi on this show. Call Her Daddy is not as big as us. We could just get her on here.
We'll send an email out to her PR people.
I'll DM her.
Our people.
He's got 217 credits as an actor. 217.
The House Bunny he was in.
The House Bunny. Is that Anna Faris?
Yeah. Superhero movie.
Recently rewatched Entourage. Got some you have some Anna Faris in there.
Yeah, great. Just awesome show. Sopranos.
Really?
He plays Eddie Dunn.
Dunn.
Don't know.
See, he's Irish. There's even within the confines of that show, like they didn't really delve outside of. I don't know. I don't remember that.
He's in Grind. He's in Spy Kids 2. 61. He plays
Spy
Mel
Kids
Allen
2. I remember him in Spy Kids 2. Good run for Spy Kids.
Don't remember him in Perfect Storm. Requiem for a Dream.
He voiced a character in Kim Possible.
I mean, what an incredible set of credits. By the way, just to legitimize this movie, Lemonade Mouth was watched by 7.1 million viewers when it premiered. So let's put a little respect on that. Disney Channel was rolling back in 2010. They were just putting
61?
out movie after movie that people were watching.
He was also in Flubber. So
I was not a fan of Flubber ever. Flubber stunk.
Hot take.
Yeah, sorry to the Flubber fans out there. Not a good movie. It's not good.
Home Improvement, of course, that checks out.
That very much checks out. Freaking Flubber.
All right, all right. I'm done.
You've gone through enough of his discography.
I'm done.
Any other takeaways from down there, Banks? Morikawa seemed like a cool guy.
Yeah, he's just very down to earth. He's you see it on TV. He's just extremely well spoken. You he can't be God. Not that anybody was trying to get him at a 2K. At a
Yeah, I'm
game
sure you guys are
presser.
asking him the hard questions.
Yeah. But he's just like your normal guy. He just loves to hang out, play video games. MRags asked him a great question that put him in a blender about skins and Call of Duty or Warzone. Yeah, he's a good dude. He actually was a last minute replacement. It was supposed to be Will Zalatoris, but Zalatoris obviously withdrew from the tournament this week. Wasn't even in Atlanta, so they just got Morikawa on a whim, and I think he was just excited to be there. Like he was like, "Oh hell yeah!" Like I'll pop in, play. Tony Finau also was kind of hovering around. He'll be in the video game too. I was hoping he would actually come upstairs because the demo day was in the tent off the 18th green at Eastlake. So literally like the hospitality tent where like right outside behind where we're playing the game, you could just see the green and watch these guys practice and stuff. And Chris McDonald was actually chatting him up a bit and watching him play and stuff. And so I think Shooter and Tony Finau are kind of in cahoots a little bit.
Wow.
Yeah, what a combo.
What a combo. I was going to say, what a combo. What a combo. Well, great stuff down there. You're down there all tomorrow, so make sure people watch all of Banks' coverage. Got your preview blog up.
Preview videos. I'm doing videos now.
And preview videos.
Starting to mix those in. So, yeah, those are going to be important for me if I'm going to go take this golf gambling thing to the next level, which I'm excited to try to do. So
there you have it. Watch Banks' videos. Support him. Support him and all. And you've given out a lot of winners this year. So I think it's worth taking your advice if you're someone who likes to put down some wagers.
Xander
likes the horse for the course, Mr. Shoffley down there.
That's right.
A FedEx, by the way, I know a FedEx Cup champion will be crowned. The storied trophy, the FedEx Cup will be given out. Imagine when it's no longer called the FedEx Cup. FedEx can't last forever with this. You wouldn't think, although they put a lot of money into the tour. Let's turn to the Baltimore Ravens, who won another preseason game. Pretty ho-hum every single time. This is what happens. 24-17 over the Arizona Cardinals. And we talked about it for like 35 seconds before we jumped on and started doing the actual show. You know, only so much to take away from some of these preseason games, and the giant headline takeaways, Isaiah Likely. 8 catches, 100 yards, I believe, right on the number, if I'm getting that correctly. Yes, 8 catches for 100 yards, and just looks every part of a really dangerous weapon next to Mark Andrews in the tight end room. And obviously one of the big questions going into training camp was who was going to be pass catching options beyond Rashad Bateman and Mark Andrews, and to a lesser extent, maybe like a Devin Duvernay. Seems like Isaiah Likely's that guy. Looks like he can kind of do it all. And the Ravens are going to own the middle of the field with Mark Andrews and Likely if he's this good. I don't really know how he couldn't be the first guy we talk about from this game.
He was the entire story. He's been the story for the most part for both games. The stats speak for themselves. The 8 catches on 8 targets, 100 yards, touchdown. The most impressive part is he did it on 15 snaps. More than half the snaps he played, he's catching the football, and he's doing all the right things on each of those plays. He's finding these soft spots in the zone the way that he should. He's positioning himself well for jump balls and being physical with other guys. When plays break down, he finds his way back to his quarterback and attacks the football, gives the quarterback a safety valve. It's exactly what you want in a tight end. And the conversation is kind of about, okay, the wide receiver group is weak. I mean, there's no way around that. Rashad Bateman's mostly unproven. Behind that, completely unproven. Traded away Hollywood Brown and all of that. People have been slamming the wide receiver group, over the offseason and for years, rightfully so. But you can't just discount the fact that the tight end group is got potential. It seems to be in a place where they could be the best tight end group of all time. I don't know. Like, it's crazy to say, but Mark Andrews, clearly a top 3 tight end in the league, cemented that last season. Isaiah Likely, of course, 2 preseason games, hasn't played a real NFL game yet, but he looks like an animal and he's in the right place to thrive. This is an offense that's going to play a lot of 2 and 3 tight end sets. He's going to get tons of opportunities, and he splits out wide. He's basically a wide receiver. So when you think about the wide receiver group, I think you have to think about the receiver group as a whole, including the tight ends, and where Likely fits in as kind of a hybrid between the two, and look at the big picture. And also look at the big picture. And this is something that I've pounded the table for the entire Lamar Jackson era. I've pounded the table about this on this podcast since we started it. The Ravens are building tanks and other teams are building sports cars. They all want to score fast. They all want to move down the field. They all want to go 5 wide receivers and speed this, speed that, whatever. The Ravens are just building a different kind of machine than everybody else. And that's okay. It's going to work. It worked great in 2019. I know the game didn't go well. We talked about it ad nauseum. Sometimes you lose football games. I am so excited to see that team return, because I really think that that's where this team is. I think that's what their ceiling is. I think that I wanted more than anything for that team to run it back. That 2019 team to just go back at it with the same guys, same personnel, just same mentality. And they didn't quite do that in 2020. 2021 was a lost season. I think they've just kind of returned back to that 2019 form, and time will tell. We'll see what it looks like in week 1, but I'm just so pumped up for the season to start, and for these guys to start for Isaiah Likely to just be a guy, in a real game situation and thrive.
I think I saw a stat too. I think that he leads all NFL players or at least tight ends in not missed tackles, but broken tackles in the preseason.
Yeah,
like
yards
9,
after the catch.
I mean, nine broken tackles in 2 games is, you don't see that out of it. You see that out of Travis Kelce. Like, you don't see that out of a tight end. Like, those guys aren't breaking tackles. He's just, and again, I didn't watch any of the game, but every time I'm looking up on Twitter, it's like, oh, there's Likely. Here's a clip, here's a video, and it's like, man, like. He's going to be a guy that I feel like a lot of people in fantasy are going to take him late and stuff like that, just to have him, because again, it just seems like he's, like you said, he's finding soft spots. He knows where to be, and the guy's just producing. So he's going to be an interesting guy to keep an eye on. He seems like a fan favorite already. I mean, people like him. Guy can ball, it seems like.
It's interesting. You talked about Banks 2019, and in retrospect, this is an easy hindsight. I don't know if the Ravens valued as much, they got good return for him, but what Hayden Hurst brought as like a second pass catching tight end. And they just didn't have that as consistently over the last 2 years. And it's easy for me to not go in like the scheme and, whatever. It just, anecdotally, you watch it and you're like, this just seems like it works better. And now Lamar Jackson has a similar guy that's athletic and can get up the field. It can potentially do the things that Hayden Hurst was doing from a pass catching perspective better than it. Looks more athletic. Clearly has the ability to get, turn up the field and get chunks of yards. I think that the Likely pick was almost like an admission of, not that, the Ravens are methodical and do what they do, but, realized they needed to get another tight end that could really, really catch the ball, and be a threat, and maybe not worry as much about building, 3 incredible wide receivers to do that when, doesn't matter who's getting the yards, just matters if you're getting them. And now Isaiah Likely can sort of bring that to the table. I think it's a good way to look at it. Really, the way you could look at the Ravens is, you look at the wide receivers, you're like, oh no, what's behind Rashad Bateman? And you said this, Banks. It's like, well, Mark Andrews is with Rashad Bateman. Those are your wide receiver 1 and your wide receiver 2. Pass catcher 1, pass catcher 2, with Andrews number 1 and Bateman number 2. Now who's behind that? Maybe Likely, if you put him in there, that makes you feel a little bit better about it than if you just think of it as Duvernay and Prochet and all these other guys. So looks like it was they hit on that pick. Go back to Travis Jones, had another good game until he got injured. Now he's out for a little bit, but continues to look like he's impressed. It really looks like the Ravens did a great job in this draft for the most part. A lot of guys have played well so far, which is nice to see. And we haven't even seen David Ajabo, and we're not going to see him, for a while. So that's easy to say in the preseason, but it's been nice. Banks, you talked about it right before the show too. Got to give it a shot to Tyler Huntley. I mean, you can start to make an argument he's the best backup in the league. He just continues to look sharp. And, you had the take artist this week of like, they should just trade Lamar and just have Huntley be number one, whatever. But I mean, at some point the Ravens are going to trade Tyler Huntley for really legitimate assets. Or if for, some reason they don't re-sign Lamar Jackson, they're going to probably make Tyler Huntley the starter, I would think. So he's looked very good. The quarterback numbers, the other day were fantastic. 23 of 27, 217, 3 TDs and a pick between young Anthony Brown and Tyler Huntley. So good for those guys. Running back numbers, not as good. And if you're a Ravens fan, you really would like to see some healthiness from Mr. Dobbins and Mr. Edwards, because these guys below them have not exactly separated themselves so far in the preseason. So hopefully those guys are more ahead of schedule than behind schedule. Well, what I would say.
Edwards is on PUP, right? Did they put him on the PUP?
Yeah, they put him on the PUP.
Oh, put him on PUP. Yep, true. Yep. True. So it's going to have to be JK. Or maybe one of these guys will step up, but
yeah, I'm not too worried about it. Like,
yeah,
we want those guys to be at full steam in December and January and February. If it takes some time for them to get back, we're going to manage. Okay. Jets week 1, Dolphins week 2. Don't count your chickens, but it's better than having some big time divisional games to start off. They're really going to hurt you down the road if you don't have your best guys.
Wasn't it? Or did we? I'm sure we talked about it, but they played the entire AFC East in the first 4 weeks, right?
Correct.
So yeah, you're expecting 3-1 out of that, I would assume. 3-1, kind of depending on where.
I think you would like to be 3-1 out of that. You don't know what you're getting out of the Patriots, and you can beat the Bills. I don't know, not an impossible game to win.
Home game.
Yeah.
I mean, you can beat anybody at home. We can beat anybody anywhere. I'll stand by that.
I can't remember if it was you, if I saw it on your Twitter, if it was a Harbaugh quote, but he said basically the same thing about Gus Edwards being like, this is done. Like, all we care about is him being full strength in December, which, all you're going to do in December is tweet that bus gif. And if he's healthy, it's going to be going. So.
Yeah. Just to put a little bit of a bow on the Tyler Huntley thing. Like, he's cooking at, I think it's 29 of 32 for close to 300 yards, a couple touchdowns. It's pretty damn good. It's really good. It's really efficient. He's extended the chains with his feet just by extending plays and such. Can't say enough about it. Like you said, he could be the best backup in the league. I don't know. He's a great fit for this offense and what it wants to do. Fantastic insurance policy. We saw him give this team chances to win games last year with an absolute shell of a roster. So
yeah.
Just there are some people. All right. The hot take artistry about how they should trade Lamar and make Huntley the starter and all those types of things are just ridiculous. We all know it. With that said, other teams or other people have taken that as an opportunity to just shit on Huntley and what he did last year by only winning 1 game out of 6 that he played last year. He made big plays in a bunch of games, and the defense let him down, or he just got the team to the finish line and just couldn't cross it. Like, all you're asking for backup quarterbacks generally is to just give your guys a chance to win games. And he gave the Ravens a chance in every single game that he started last year. And the one game that he didn't during that stretch without Lamar was that Cincinnati game where Josh Johnson played. So it just feels like people are taking opportunities to slander these Baltimore quarterbacks from all angles. It's just the hot take world that we live in now. So
there's also a few teams, like if you're the Commanders, if you're a Commanders fan, would you rather have what Carson Wentz looks like he is or what Tyler Huntley maybe could be as a 16-game starter? I think it's a really interesting call. I think you might. I'll throw this to you, Eric. If you're a Titans fan, do you want what Ryan Tannehill is right now, or do you want what Tyler Huntley could be? Interesting thought. Is there a potential there? You're probably taking Tannehill. You probably are. Tannehill's become a very productive quarterback. I'm just throwing things out there. But I think you're right. He showed the ability, Banks, to win in the league with that roster was dead. and they couldn't stop. They weren't good defensively, so he had to get into shootouts. It's not as if like you could manage your way through the game.
Yeah.
Like they gave up 500 passing yards a
The
game.
man went toe to toe with Aaron Rodgers and came up 2 yards short.
And wasn't that it was a 2-point conversion, right?
Yeah, they went for
In
two.
that game.
Yeah.
And then
And
the
it
Steelers
probably-
game, wasn't it? Wasn't
And
that
then-
a 2-point conversion?
There's always like a happy
the Rams
medium.
went on to win the Super Bowl, and they basically the same thing.
Yeah.
There's always like a happy medium. When he was playing well at one point last year, it was swinging to like, is this guy, like a $90 million over 5 years kind of guy, which was probably too much. And then once you get to this year, it's like, oh, well, he like should never go. And it's like, he stinks. This is all the things that like, it's somewhere in the middle. Like Tyler Huntley's a good player. And I will be very happy for him if at some point he gets a nice check over the course of a number of years. That seems like he's worked himself into this, and and also seems like a good guy for the most part. It seems like so. Hopefully, the guy gets paid at some point. Maybe it'll be here. You never know.
I got two teams that jumped to mind when you were talking about the like quarterbacks and all that stuff.
Yeah,
One is the Falcons.
yeah.
Like Mariota, I think Mariota's fine.
Desmond Ritter's throwing touchdowns to Jared Bernhardt in the preseason right now.
Yeah, like and
They're on
nothing against,
lacrosse's finest. Unbelievable.
nothing against Ritter, but again, it's like I think Huntley would be all right down there. Like he could throw it.
Honestly, I think Mariota would make for a great backup quarterback for us.
100%. He's again. I mean, you saw him what he did with Vegas last year, and like he would come in like a package or two. I think, yeah, I mean, he would be perfect. He's mobile enough. He can sling it if he needs. The injury concern, I mean, he's always hurt.
I always thought Marcus Mariota was going to be good. I really did. I thought.
still think he could be, but I feel like his window has closed.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think so too. He was so good at Oregon.
Dolphins were another team that I kind of thought of if whatever happens.
Oh, the Tuanon. You're not in the Tuanon.
No, I'm just saying if he were to get moved, not that he would, but I think him with that roster down there, it'd be all right. But I don't know.
Someone sitting in
what
the
kind of,
in the Talia section of the Tungavailoa Plain, I cannot endorse that.
Okay, well,
I cannot endorse. No. I think that I mean, I think if you're especially with the Dolphins, if Tua isn't able to end up getting it done, I think you have to like think about making a trade for somebody like that. If you feel like your roster is really made to like win now, which everyone is like very convinced that the Dolphins are this like ready-made team. I mean, they've showed nothing. I mean, maybe.
I mean, didn't they start out last year 0-7, and then they won 7 straight?
Yeah, but I'm saying like you got like
Oh yeah, people are talking them up this year.
It's like
they've done.
just win, like start 3-1 and like actually
Yeah.
be a team.
Just don't start 0-7.
Yeah.
Maybe people will take you seriously.
That's
Dolphins talk for this week.
for this week. Yeah, we always get a little Dolphins
Talking
talk.
Dolphins.
Talking Dolphins. Ravens finish up the preseason. I have forgotten every week that there's only 3 preseason games until I like look at everything and like get ready. I just never remember. Against the Commanders on Saturday.
Big. That's a big bring your girlfriend to the game. That is a huge. That's what I was talking about the other night with. You're going to see a lot of Chris Cooley's. You're going to see a lot of Dennis Pittas, some McNairs. You're going to see a lot of those jerseys. McAllister's maybe.
Oh, I love Chris McAllister.
A lot of Willis McGahee jerseys. Champ Bailey 24s. They're going to be out. Maybe some Stephen Davis 48s.
Yeah.
They're going to be
7
out.
o'clock. 7 o'clock.
In DC or Landover?
It is in Baltimore. That is at M&T Bank Stadium. So tickets for as low as $20 according to ESPN right now.
Seems high.
So I mean the Ravens I bet this will be a tremendous crowd on Saturday if the weather's good.
Mm-hmm.
You'll have
are they doing fireworks or anything?
That's my first tremendous of the pod for those people counting at home. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know. It's Saturday.
That would be like a firework game.
Yeah. Those games end up ending so late though. I remember the first preseason game. I was like, this Tennessee game is still going on. It's like 10:45.
I think that's a lot of commercials, I think, too.
Yeah, the commercial load on WBAL.
Yeah.
All right, Baltimore Orioles. Still in it. It just continues to be the storyline. They haven't dropped that much lower. They haven't really gained that much. 2.5 games back of the wild card. 5-5 in their last 10. Good performances, not so good performances. Gunnar Henderson rumors. Jorge Mateo just continues to build on his legend. It it continues to be fun to be in a playoff race. Still don't know if it's gonna, come to pass. When do you think Henderson gets caught up, RDT?
I think we see him this weekend. I obviously everyone thought it would be Tuesday with the I think there's 44 days left in the season starting on Tuesday because they were like, oh, then he can still have his rookie status for next year and they can get the pick if he finishes top 3 or 2 or whatever it is. I think it'll be Wednesday. I talked to someone with the Tides on Tuesday and he said, I'm preparing for him to be gone on Tuesday or on Friday. Like they're in Jacksonville. So I don't know if they just fly him right from Jacksonville to Houston where the Orioles are going to be on Thursday or whatever. Yeah, I mean, again, a lot of people, they just want him up. They want him up right now. They can't stand Odor. They want to get rid of him. I think Odor is, obviously he's not played well. Will Gunnar come up right away? Like we're seeing him as Kyle Stowers right now. He looks lost. He stinks right now, Kyle Stowers. And guess what? Adley was the same way. He was awful, he was awful the first 3 weeks, month. Stowers is going through it too. There's no reason to believe that Gunnar is not going to go through it again because he was worse. He's younger than both of them. He has less plate appearances, all this stuff. Like I just don't. People think Gunnar coming up is going to be like the Orioles are going to win 8 of their next 10 and they're really going to make a push for this wild card. That's not. Who knows? Is he better than Rougned Odor? Yes. That's not even a question. But like, is he going to be better right away? I don't know. I mean, again, it's not going to take much, but I think we'll see him this weekend. Again, especially with September coming up, you can bring him up. I think we're going to get him in DL and they're really going to make a push for this thing. And it's funny because, the first half of the podcast, the first half of this year was like, oh, they're 2 games under 500. They're 3 games under 500. Now we're past that. They're 5 games up. Now we're 2.5 games back from the wild card, a game and a half back. That's what it's transitioned to, like the 500 watch. So now it's the wild card watch. So it would have been nice. They could have gained some ground tonight on Seattle. Seattle lost. Shout out to the Nats for doing something.
The Nats.
Awful.
The Nats.
Awful.
42 and 83.
I don't know who got the win tonight for them, but I blogged it this morning. Their starters have gone 40 straight games without getting a win, which is unbelievable. That is crazy. But yeah, I mean, again, they're 64 and 59. They were the first team to cash their over win total this year, which is pretty cool. Yeah, their run differentials, they're plus 11 right now, so they're right around that plus 10 for the last couple of weeks, but they're holding in. They had a nice game against Dylan Cease last night, a really, really fun series. That game on Friday with the Red Sox, where they were up 10-4, and it was like, this is unbelievable. And then they give up 5, and I'm like, they're going to lose this game by 10. And then they end up winning, what was it, 15-11 or whatever. I mean, that truly was an unbelievable game. The crowd was unreal. The way the Red Sox came back was crazy. The Orioles offense was just, it was that game was that was a slow pitch softball game. That was fun. And then the game on Sunday, the Little League Classic in front of everyone. It was a great Sunday night game in front of a national TV audience with a lot of eyes on Adley, on Mullins, on Hayes, on all the Mateo, again, with the big hit, late in the game to give him the win. I mean, the stuff before the game with Adley and all them sliding down the hill, I mean, he's a legitimate superstar now. Like, if you did not think so before, seeing the kids mob him, that picture of Adley surrounded by kids was unbelievable. Like, that was awesome. I thought they did a great job. I'm really happy that the Orioles came through. Like, it would have sucked if they would have lost 6-0 and everyone would have made their Orioles Little League jokes, but it was a really good weekend for the Orioles. And again, I mean, if they can just keep winning 2 out of 3, just keep stacking those, you're going to be sitting pretty. Again, I mean, they're 2.5 out right now behind Seattle for the last wild card spot. I don't think there's any reason that they can't, again, put together another 8 out of 10 stretch, or 12 of 15, something like that down the stretch, because they're good. Like I said before, they're going to be playing all the teams in front of them, all the teams right on their tail for a wild card spot. And we got the schedule coming out for next year too. So a lot of cool games on there. So it's, again, I mean, it's a good time to be an Orioles fan, and this is a lot of fun. It's going to get a lot more fun when Gunnar comes up hopefully this weekend, Friday. Someone said it's going to be weird if he's playing and Trey's at first base for the Astros on Friday or something like that. So, but yeah, again, I'm hoping they can win this one tomorrow on Thursday versus the White Sox, and then we'll go to Houston.
Yeah, you look at this Orioles schedule, and what's wild is they have 10 more games against Toronto.
It's a lot of games.
Who's right in front of them. None against the Rays. So they're done playing Tampa, which is kind of crazy when you think about how unbalanced that is from a divisional perspective. That makes no sense, but that is how it is. So Toronto is really the team that if they need to, they can chase them down by beating them themselves. Everybody else, they don't have games against, essentially. They have Cleveland, but Cleveland's up in the division. They have a lot of games against Houston, but they're way up, so they don't really matter. They have games against
the White Sox.
Yeah, you finish with the White Sox. They have games against New York, but they don't really matter. And Boston's behind them right now, so you have 7 games against Boston, but they may not be a factor. You're just gonna have to beat them, not beat them to like pull them back and get into a playoff spot. So they can't really like pull back Seattle if they had to, or the Rays or the Twins by themselves. They're gonna need things to happen. But with that said, they also have some manageable parts of the schedule. Like they have 3 against Oakland, 2 against the Nats, 3 against Detroit. So there's some games in there that they, can make some hay on potentially, with, the 2 worst teams in the American League and then the worst team in the National League. You have 8 games against those 2 teams, or those 3 teams, excuse me. So that's nice. But those Toronto games are just going to be enormous games. I mean, those are going to be 10 enormous baseball games. And they finish with them at home. So you could get into a scenario with a playoff spot on the line at Camden Yards the last 3 days of the season, which would be absolutely electric on every level. Now they're going to have to get to that point with 7 games on the road against the Red Sox and the Yankees before that series. So that could be the are you for real? Put up or shut up. Go to Fenway and Yankee Stadium and get some dubs and set yourself up for a chance to beat Toronto to get in the wild card. But it still continues to be very possible. And that's all you can ask for. I think we're a little bit of a broken record on that every week. And it's like, oh, it's just nice to be in it, but it really is. And until it's over, it's not over. So, the Rays have put together a really nice stretch recently after they looked like they were kind of fading. But this thing is just all tight knit. I mean, the Rays, Blue Jays, Mariners, Orioles, Twins, and White Sox are still very much in this thing, and Red Sox a little bit more outside looking in. It looks like ESPN, by the way, fixed the playoff odds. They must have seen something. Maybe it was from us. I don't know. We're pretty influential. Orioles 5.4%. Angels down from, what was it, like 64% last week. They're now below a 0.1%. So an enormous drop for the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, who are now 20 games under 500.
Well, when your owner says that he's going to sell, that has to just tank your.
Well, true. Yeah. That's it's like the stock market went against them. And then Texas, who spent all this money, they stink too.
They spent a lot of money. Again, Detroit spent a lot of money, and this was the thing that people were talking about earlier when Olney was really going at the Orioles, being like, is it worse that they didn't spend money and they're playing really well, or is it worse that Texas spent $500 million on their infield and they're 57-67? They fired their president and manager this year. It's like, which is worse for baseball? I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, that's it. Certainly not the Orioles right now. They didn't look like that. They didn't look bad for baseball in front of the little leaguers in Williamsport. I'll tell you that much.
That, man, I said it before. That looks so cool. I really wish some tickets were available. I get why they're not, and it's cool that the families, and I think they said the people who live in Williamsport can, they have the tickets. It was like 2,800 people. The atmosphere was awesome. Them letting them wear like the customized cleats and bats and all that stuff was really cool. Buster Olney interviewing kids in the crowd was awful. I don't know if you guys caught any of that.
Did not see that.
He butchered this kid's name to his face 4 times and then just laughed when he got it wrong. He got it wrong 3 straight times. And then, it was bad. It was really bad, but everything else was really cool. Yeah, again, I'm happy that the O's showed up well in it. And, next year when it's Nats and Phillies, I don't think it'll be quite a hit like it was this year.
Have you guys been following the Little League World Series at all?
Yeah, I mean, I'm seeing the viral clips. I'm seeing the strikes in the other batter's box. You know, I see on TikTok the videos of that kid who fell and hit his head in his rehab, which is, another
That
somber story that I'll talk about.
that by the way, how do they not have railings on those beds in
I don't
Williamsport?
know.
What are they doing? What are they doing? Taylor Twellman, what are they doing?
I mean, it was an awful story. It's awesome that it seems like he'll be okay. And his brother, I think his brother was the one who replaced him on the roster and got a standing ovation. And they had to stop the game when he came in, and the coach had to pull him over and console him because I think he was just so emotionally overwhelmed. But yeah, again, I mean, Hawaii is a wagon. I don't know what else to say. It's just them and Curacao every year, and
Yeah, Hawaii is amazing. Some upsets on the international side. Japan, I believe, went 2-0, which is stunning, legitimately stunning. I mean, Japan never is always involved late.
Banks loves their hats.
I did have a repairman come to my house the other morning, and that Japan Curacao game, or is that what team it was? The one that went 11 innings.
I think so.
That game just happened to be on. I got to tell you, that was a hell of a ball game.
Wait, was that
That's about
Curacao? Did Nicaragua beat them? Nicaragua beat them. Latin America.
Is that who it
Was it Nicaragua?
Yeah, that's who got him out. Yeah, because Curacao has been rolling through this tournament.
They hit a big time 3-run dinger in the bottom of the sixth just to push it down.
I think we're gonna get Curacao versus I
Hawaii.
believe they call it Chinese Taipei in the international final.
Yeah.
That's what it's gonna. That's I think they got to beat Mexico to get in there. The Caribbean champions of Curacao. Hawaii into the U.S. championship. No, into the semi. I don't know. They're in there somewhere.
Texas beat Pennsylvania, I think, tonight. I may have that backwards.
They did 8-4. Yeah, they did.
I got a question if anyone wants to put on their geopolitical hat for a second.
Sure.
The China, Taiwan, Chinese Taipei, isn't there some sort of controversy in terms of China doesn't recognize Taiwan, and then Chinese Taipei, is that the same region, or is that, I mean, I'm obviously speaking from a place of complete ignorance, but isn't there controversy about how China
something with Taiwan and China?
So the state, so please forgive me, any international scholars out there, if I'm getting this wrong. But the simple explanation is that Taiwan, there's tons of controversy in terms of this. All happened with Nancy Pelosi a couple weeks ago, where Nancy Pelosi was the highest head of state ever to go to Taiwan. China believes it should just be in total control of Taiwan. So to negate the controversy, when Taiwan is on the international stage, tournaments will refer to them as Chinese Taipei. I don't Chinese Taipei is Taiwan, and Taiwan is Chinese Taipei. That is just the way Little League refers to them. So there's less controversy, I guess, regarding what's going on. So
I guess
there's a dispute of Taiwan's sovereignty between people in Taiwan and China. This is, international relations.
The way I'm looking at it, though, is does that mean Little League is siding with the Chinese by not calling them Taiwanese? Is that problematic?
I can't speak for Little League or
I just wanted to see how you would handle such a question.
I first of all, I love that I put myself in the position of explaining a Little League's decisions. I don't know. I don't know. I think that let me do a brief. Chinese Taipei is a term used in various international organizations and tournaments for groups representing the Republic of China, a state commonly known as Taiwan. Due to the one China principle stipulated by the People's Republic of China, Taiwan, being a non-UN member after its expulsion in 1971 and with ongoing dispute of its sovereignty, this is from Wikipedia, by the way, was prohibited from using or displaying any of its national symbols, such as national name, anthem, and flag, that would represent the statehood of Taiwan at international events. This decision eventually came to compromise when the term Chinese Taipei was first proposed in the Nagoya Resolution of 1979, whereby ROC/Taiwan and the PRC/China recognized the right of participants to use each other and remain separate as teams in any activities of the International Olympic Committee or its correlates. A top of the line, non-corrupt organization like the IOC gets involved. Always good. The term came to official use in 1981 following the change of the Olympic Committee of the ROC to the Chinese Taipei Olympic Committee. Such arrangements later became a model for ROC Taiwan to continue participating in various international organizations and affairs in diplomacy other than the Olympic Games, including the World Trade Organization, the World Health Organization, the Metric Convention, the APEC, and international pageants, and the Little League World Series. I'm just kidding. The Little League World Series is not in that. Popular opinions in Taiwan have changed drastically in regard to cross-strait relations and nationalistic discourses since its transition to democracy. Chinese Taipei has consistently been viewed as anachronistic, aggravating, or even humiliating, and a shameful symbol to many Taiwanese. So it doesn't sound like the Taiwanese are a huge fan of playing under this name. An ongoing movement, the Taiwan name rectification campaign, which I've donated to, seeks alteration of the formal name from Chinese Taipei to Taiwan. I think we get the point here. You can go on a real deep dive on the Taiwan China. This stuff is not good. Like, you saw how big of a deal it was. I said this with the Nancy Pelosi thing. Like, there was like the World War III jokes going on, and it like wasn't like that funny. It was like, oh, well, maybe actually, because this is like really gonna piss China off. So they might be in the fun. They'll be here for a while. So I think that's your explanation there. Doesn't sound like anyone in Taiwan likes it. Sounds like it's a thing to placate all parties. As long as sportsmanship is shown, that's all you can say.
There we go.
If a kid from Curacao hits a kid from Chinese Taipei in the head, you just hope they have a hug after. That's all we can ask for. That's all we can ask for.
Lauren and I got into a screaming match while out at dinner the other night, because I was talking about the hug at Little League and was like, this is fucking awful. And she was like, what's wrong with everyone being like so hot takey now? And I was like, nope. It's competition. Nope. Like,
by the way,
full on. We were almost screaming at each other in this restaurant.
They've really expanded this. Puerto Rico and Panama now have their own regions. They just get a team in every year, which I'm assuming is how Nicaragua got into the field in the Latin America region. I believe they were the Latin America region team. That's correct.
So, I mean, if that's the case,
we've had two extended Little League World Series conversations in 2 weeks.
They either expanded the field or they took fields away from other teams.
No, because they made more regions in the U.S. because there used to be the Mid-Atlantic used to be the Mid-Atlantic used to be
international side.
Everything, right?
Oh, yeah, but I'm saying they expanded both sides of it. They put more American teams in it and more international teams in it.
Okay, so like the Saudi Arabian team, is that still a thing?
Europe, Africa, which was a team from Italy this year. But yes.
Okay.
It's Asia Pacific, Australia, Canada, Caribbean, Europe, Africa, Japan, Latin America, Mexico, Panama, Puerto Rico. And then the U.S. is now the Mid-Atlantic, the Midwest, the Mountain, the New England, the Northwest. There's the Metro, but the Metro just went away. The Metro is now like Jersey, New York.
Yeah.
The West, the Southwest, Southeast.
You know, the thing about Saudi Arabia is that it's in neither Europe or Africa, I think.
No, it's in Africa. It's technically in Africa.
Really?
The Middle East is not a continent. Yeah.
I thought everything to the right of Egypt is over in Asia.
Oh, maybe it is in Asia.
I don't know.
Let's take a look.
Tune in next week to find out. Where is Saudi Arabia?
This is so far off the rails right now.
Yeah, this is what the podcast does. Western Asia. Yeah. Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Western Asia?
Yeah, Western Asia. Very Western Asia.
Would it be Eastern Asia?
Fifth largest country in Asia. But I don't. So when they were in it, though, when they were in it, I think the regions were defined differently. I think it was like
it definitely was.
Hold the phone. Hold the phone. This is what's throwing me off. This is
the
most in-depth Little League World Series region breakdown.
This is all geography.
The region was called the Transatlantic region back in 2005. The Transatlantic region is not, and then
it doesn't even mean anything.
Then Europe, Middle East, Africa was a region, and Moscow, Russia. This is in 2005.
Eesh.
They've really changed this up.
Is Russia banned? Are the
that's
Russian
a great question. Did they play in the
side like Medvedev?
I could check the regionals. Let me take a quick peek. I mean, that's interesting. That's interesting really fodder. Yeah, the Puerto Rico and Panama regions are new. So The tournament, by the way, for the Europe Africa region took place in the Netherlands. Austria, Croatia, Czech Republic, Italy, Netherlands, Spain, Switzerland, the United Kingdom, and Ukraine. So Ukraine sent a team. How about that?
Yeah.
They went 0-2.
Yeah, as they should.
Good for them.
We
Italy
should
got
send
the
some
win.
expats over there.
From Bologna, the Emilia Romagna Little League, which I believe has been in the tournament before. That name sounds familiar. Vienna was the site of the Austria's team. London Little League went 0-2. Tough for the Brits this year. So that was any other Little League questions we want to go over? Anyone Little League questions? I wish I'd thought more about that Saudi Arabia thing, because you're right. Everything into the right there. That's the cardinal rule there. That's a good job by you. But I guess no confirmation that Russia was banned from the league. Can you imagine Little League just siding with Putin? Just
if it's a money thing, I could see it.
List of Little League World Series appearances by country. Russia, 5 appearances, none since 2016. 1-14 in the tournament.
Oof.
Tough. Very tough. Canada made 64 appearances, never won this thing. Tough. Taiwan/Chinese Taipei has won this a bunch of times, but has not won it since 1996. So we'll see if they can get it done this year. Curaçao's only won once. There's the thought that they win all the time. They've only won one time. I believe Erickson Profar was on the team that won.
Scope,
Jonathan Scope.
Yep. Okay. Let's move on to the starting 5 draft presented by FedThrill after a robust Little League World Series discussion. We'll be back for analysis of the although the championship now might be this weekend, now that I'm thinking about it. If they're rolling into sort of the final games, you would think the Sunday's the title game.
Yeah, because I think school starts next week, right?
Yeah. August 28th is the title game.
That was always the worst. Watching the final out and then realizing, like, fuck, I gotta go to school tomorrow.
Yeah, I gotta go to school.
I gotta get my
tomorrow.
folders ready. Shit.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Yeah. So Hawaii will play the winner of Texas and Tennessee. And they have them listed as Taiwan this year. Wait, they're Taiwan on Wikipedia. Aren't they Chinese type? Aren't they Chinese Taipei when they play? What are they on the Little League site? Wait a minute. This just continues. This continues. What is happening here? Hold on. Hold the phone. Wow. Asia Pacific. Chinese Taipei on the Little League site. So Wikipedia has said, no. We are listing them as Taiwan. Unbelievable.
Wow. Take a stand, Wikipedia.
Wow, Wikipedia. No donations coming from Beijing, let me tell you. Sheesh. They'll play the winner of Mexico and Curacao. All right. Starting 5 draft presented by FedThrill. We're doing ad campaigns. And hopefully FedThrill has liked our ad campaign that we've done for them for going on more than a year now. Use this promo code EXIT52 to get 20% off your sunglasses. It continues to be hot outside. It was like 90 degrees today, so you're getting a lot of use out of those things. So go get your sunglasses if you haven't. Promo code EXIT52, 20% off. Best ad campaigns. I don't really know why we decided. Because we were singing the Filet of Fish song last week.
Wow.
I mean, it's out there. That one's out there. No one forgot about it. You guys remember it. It's out there. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah. No, I mean, if somebody wants to take it, they can take it. RDT, you have the first pick. I have the second pick. Banks, you have the third pick. RDT started off.
Now, ad campaigns just / commercial. Like what's the? I kind of just went on like a whole commercial about it. Like, I'll pick my first one and see where it falls, because I may be screwed then. I have the Budweiser "What's Up."
Yes, that one. That's fine.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Because that one absolutely took over the country by storm.
It's a banger. There is an amazing parody of it with Pokemon saying the "What's Up" that is very funny, that I will try to find before the end of the show.
I do remember the Scary Movie. It was in Scary Movie 1, I believe. The original Scary Movie. Again, that had everyone by the absolute balls and was just the funniest thing you had ever seen. Everyone was saying it. Like, It was perfect. It was a perfect ad campaign. It was a perfect commercial. It's still funny to this day. Like I think, when did they redo it? Like 2 years ago, last year?
They did a conversion during COVID.
Yeah. And it was like, people like loved it again. And then you had the other people who didn't even know that it was like a commercial at first. So that's like the very first one that jumps out to me. Just an all-time ad campaign / commercial, whatever you want to call it. That was an easy. I know. I feel like we say that every week. That was a very easy 1-1 for me. The Budweiser was up.
Yeah, it's a good pick.
It was a high pick on my board. Yeah.
It was very high on my board. I think I have to scoop this up here because I don't know if it falls back to me. I have to take this to SportsCenter.
Okay.
Unbelievable quality. We did an entire draft of just commercials from it. It's an amazing ad campaign that ran for like 20 years. And it's just very, very good.
Mm-hmm.
It's just very, very consistently good.
Extremely like long running and wide campaign to the point where I wasn't sure if we were going to agree that it should be taken. I kind of concluded that it should be. Yeah.
To me, it's more of an ad camp. Like if we were going individual commercials, I would take a different pick. But that as a wide-ranging ad campaign, quote unquote, to me makes this and has bangers. Like if we did a full-on commercial draft, we would probably take some This Is SportsCenter commercials. So it felt like a perfect pick for me.
We literally did a whole draft on SportsCenter commercials.
Yeah.
Like that's it. That's a testament to that right there. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's by the ad agency Weed and Kennedy, which we will see at other points of this draft because they are like a legendary ad. I don't think there's much more to say. We did a full draft on it. This is SportsCenter. Banks, you got 2.
Interesting spot here. Interesting start we've had. There's a bunch here that I just don't think they're going to get back to me. I'm going to take I got a dagger Eric here. I got to take the Sears air conditioning commercial. It's such a classic.
Yeah.
Such a classic. I don't even know how to describe it to most people. If you know it, you've seen it. It's from like the mid 90s. It's this couple that they're just sweating their asses off in the middle of the summer. And they see they see it in the paper or something.
So,
there's Sears, there's like, they have their AC repair service or whatever, where they're going to come out and they'll replace it in the same day or something. And
no, they're looking at the weather. And he says it's going to be a hot one today.
That is right.
And and they say, just like yesterday. And then he goes, tomorrow's going to be even hotter. And then she goes, she says something like tomorrow. Or he says, I'll call to get the AC fixed. I'll call tomorrow. And she goes, tomorrow, you said you call today. And that's when he does
I'll call now. I don't know. It's just like so nostalgic and just sticks out in my brain.
So
and this could be the nichiest pick ever. It could just be funny to us, but it's just such a classic.
It's very, very good. It definitely, there's traction of it online. Any day when it's like over 90, I try and tweet it out, just being like, and it's funny because every time I'll have people be like, this unlocked a part of my brain that I did not know it still existed. Like I forgot about this commercial for 25 years until just now. And then you remember every single word. So it's great.
Yeah, it's
a pick. That's a pick.
I'm going to go in a wildly different direction here. I'm going to go local, and I'm going to take the Eastern Motors commercials. Local athletes. I don't know if this is one that you guys thought of, but I wanted to have it badly. If you're anybody who's ever been an athlete in the DMV and some Baltimore athletes as well, you were in an Eastern Motors commercial. Alex Ovechkin early in his career, tons of Washington football players. Ray Lewis was in one at one point. The jingle is an absolute banger. It's timeless. It has been for years and years. Plays on TV, plays on radio. If you know it, you know it. Eastern Motors. Your job is your credit.
Your job is your credit.
Great pick.
Job is your credit. Ovechkin doing it was an iconic.
Like all the Wizards doing it, wasn't it? Like it was like Haywood and
Antoine Jameson.
Yep. Great pick.
I didn't have the Sears air conditioning high on the board, but that thing does make me laugh. Eastern Motors is one I would have taken at some point, probably. I'm going to take what I had at the top of my board. I kind of took this as SportsCenter because I thought it had a chance just to not get back to me because of how much we've talked about it, but it seems like you guys maybe weren't going to take it. I'm gonna take the man your man could smell like from Old Spice.
Yeah.
I watched that commercial a million times when it came out the first time. That commercial is so well done. It is such a good ad. And it was like very viral in the mid stages of the early YouTube
I think it was
era,
2010,
like 2010.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. Swan dive into the best night of your life. 2 tickets, that thing you love. Great commercial. So I'm taking that.
That's a good. I had it low on my list, but yeah, it was definitely, there was consideration.
That is one of my favorite commercials of all time, easily. Like, where up. That's the best part about this too, is commercials hit everyone a little bit differently. So our boards are probably going to be a little all over the place to a certain extent.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
You have 2, Eric.
I will do this. This is I think the very first one that jumped into my mind. The Quiznos sponge monkeys.
Fuck.
Yeah, I mean, that you talk about, that was one of the very first, like, what the hell was that commercial? Like, I watched them tonight, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, I don't know how to explain it. The sponge monkey looks like, I don't know. I have no idea what it looks like.
This was my highest rated player on my board, and I just tried to
Sneak
play it
by.
where this would get by. I didn't think you guys would have it as high.
Oh, it was, again, when
I don't have it on my board.
last week. When yeah.
Because they are good for us.
And that's all it was. Like, they have a pepper bar. That's what
They
they
got a
said.
pepper bar.
Again, they came out with like a series of them, but man, they were like legitimate. Like, what the hell was that when you saw the commercial? It's just very funny. And again, it was just random. It wasn't a Super Bowl commercial. Like, it was just their normal marketing campaign. And I did love Quiznos. I was a huge Quiznos guy.
I don't know if Quiznos still exists, but they had a chicken carbonara sub that was an absolute banger.
There's one up off Route 1 in Jessup.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's
It's up there.
That's a predictable place for there still to be a
Exactly.
Quiznos.
Yeah. Yes.
There are 176 Quiznos left in the United States.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
More than I thought, but yeah. Fantastic. If you haven't seen the commercial, just YouTube sponge monkeys. All righty.
Let me tell you what, the hickory smoked burnt end sub they've got up here on the website looks very good.
That could be good. That could be very good. My next one, I'm gonna go with another one that kind of absolutely took over the nation. We've seen it in many, not many, but an Office episode. The video goes viral every now and then of the guys originally singing it. I Want My Baby Back Ribs, Chili's. That song, maybe, I mean, that's Austin Powers. Did we talk about Austin Powers last week? A couple weeks ago?
Maybe.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, the just that jingle. And because again, everyone has said it. Everyone is saying, I want my baby back ribs. The commercial is great. And again, like, the behind the scenes of like 5 old guys singing it is just a hilarious video. It's very, very funny. That I saw that video last week, actually, and I started writing it down too. So that helped remind me of it. But yeah, I'm going Chili's, baby back ribs. Office, of course, great scene there. Chili's, the new golf course.
What do I want to take here? I'm gonna take the Budweiser Real Men of Genius commercials, which ran on both TV and radio. Incredible.
Budweiser.
Just consistently incredible. Real Men of Genius.
I'm getting daggered out here. It's my next pick. I was so excited to take it.
This one's for you, Mr. Blah, blah, blah.
I have the page on my phone right here. There are 116 different versions of this ad campaign.
I can only imagine the ones that like were like too risque or couldn't get made or something. They probably had some really good ones.
Today we salute you, Mr. Putt Putt Golf Course Designer.
I loved Mr. Pontoon Boat Maker. Mr. Pontoon Boat Maker.
People, yeah, man, those were good. Those were really, really good.
Mr. Pro Sports Heckler Guy. like the person seeing that was
He's the
just
best part.
unbelievable. We've said unbelievable a lot in this show, but
That's a good.
I'm
that's a
going
good
through.
pick.
I'm going through them now too. Man, my oh my! And they ran on TV and radio. They were good on radio. Like they're really good.
They were
radio
especially
commercials.
good on radio. And there's so many
Um,
bad radio commercials out there, or just like that are just they're I don't know. They don't grab your attention. You're just so annoyed hearing them. But when Real Men of Genius came on, you get real fired up. Smile would come to your face.
You
Oh,
started
man.
giggling like we are, just like
I
right before they
know.
even say it. Like you're
I
just
know.
giggling.
Mr. Driving Range Ball Picker Upper.
That's good.
These are just these. I'm just reading through them. It's just hard not to just sit and read through them now. So many good ones. The Mr. Pro Sports Heckler guy sticks out to me as I now listen to it. You guys can't hear it. The Real Men of Genius drawn out too is just so good. Today we salute you, Mr. Pro Sports Heckler guy. There's
Mr.
like
way
the
too
lines.
proud of Texas guy.
I
They
think
say those who can't play coach. Apparently, those who can't coach sit 3 rows back shouting obscenities.
I think Big Cat tweeted that with the video with the guy eating the hot dog. Or the
Mr.
the
Pro
hot
Sports
dog
Heckler
straw.
guy?
He tweeted the video and just said real men of genius. Like that's a perfect one. Like we salute you, Mr. Hot Dog Straw.
I gotta play Mr. Pro Sports Heckler guy on my phone. Hopefully, you guys can hear it over this. This is so funny.
Just to raise the net before they kick the field. Go guy.
How can I play this? I need to be able to play this. Hold on. Just play. This is bad radio. Oh, I'm so happy about this pick. I thought maybe I could get it. I'm so glad I took it now. Clearly, you were going to take it.
That's a good pick.
It's just not going my way right now.
Yeah.
All right. Am I up next here?
Hold on. We can't hear it. Nope.
Oh, you guys
Nothing.
can't hear it?
Nothing.
No, not at all.
That's bizarre. You guys could hear all stuff coming on my phone earlier. Go ahead. Banks. We'll cut that off.
I think I really gotta dig deep here and take a people pleaser, and I'm just gonna take. I want to say it was Coors Light and Twins.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Twins. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that I don't know if they had. I think they had multiple songs that had
Mhm.
similar messaging, but they always threw in the and Twins at the end.
And
Correct.
Twins.
If you're a certain age, you know what we're talking about.
Yep.
Yeah,
Those were impactful.
those were impactful. Perhaps I should just leave it at that.
Yep.
I don't think there's anything else to say. People get it.
People get it. And then I'm going to take the flail fish. I'm going to do it. Somebody's got to take
Sure.
it. I got to be the guy to do it. Give me back that flail fish. Give me that fish. Another absolute banger of a jingle. We've discussed before, like, hey, maybe we should just do a jingles draft. I think that's a worthwhile venture after we let this one kind of breathe a little bit. But yeah, flail fish McDonald's. And the great thing about it was that it was a campaign that they could recycle every year
Mhm.
around Lent. So
Lent,
Yeah.
yeah.
Good pick. I love filet fish.
Up
Give me
on
the
that
filet
ball.
fish.
If it were you in that sandwich, you wouldn't be laughing at all.
A lot to go to potentially here, but I'm going to stick to my guns on a one that I got a ton of pleasure out of. I'm taking Dos Equis, the most interesting man in the world.
I had
Oh,
it on
yeah.
there. Yep.
Yeah.
Those were excellent ads.
Walking
And,
into any Mexican restaurant and having like the cardboard cut out in the corner was always like, oh, we got to go take a picture. We got to go take a picture. With
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
And then didn't it come out that he was like Italian or something like that? Like,
Yeah. Like his, that
was-
one actor. Yeah. The whole
Yeah,
from,
he
like,
couldn't even
Croatia.
speak English. Yeah.
Bro, really?
Yeah.
That I think I do remember that now. Yeah. That was a great ad campaign though. For a beer that
Alright.
maybe I've had twice.
Yeah. Dos
Maybe.
Equis.
It didn't make me drink the beer. I was just like, oh, it's a
Yeah.
funny commercial. All righty. My two.
Yep.
Last two. I am going. I don't know if this kind of I'll go Nike Squeak basketball. Like that Nike, I think it was, I don't
Yeah.
know if it was a Shocks commercial.
There's a lot of good Nike commercials.
That's
Almost
what I
hard
didn't
to
know.
like
I didn't know if I wanted to
pick
take
Yeah.
which one I
Nike
liked.
Yeah.
Hello world.
But the Nike Squeak basketball, I was reading about it. It premiered, I think, during Game 5 of the 2001 finals, they said. But like, again, another thing that was parodied in Scary Movie, like just a very clean cut commercial where like Vince Carter gets past the ball and he starts dribbling, and AI, and not AI. It was a couple, like Rasheed Wallace was in it. Any Nike like basketball guy, and they were just making a beat to a song with the bouncing the basketball and the squeaks of the shoes, and it was an awesome beat. Like I forget what I was listening to the other day, and KFC was saying that he made that it was the bracket, and he made that his voicemail when he was in like 7th grade. He just recorded that on his phone, and that was his voicemail, the squeaking of the shoes in the basketball. It was just such a great, iconic commercial. It was very, very, very cool, very well done. And again, Nike just knocks everything out of the park. So I will go
They're
Nike.
very good at what they do.
Again, I can't remember if it was Shocks or if it was just like a Nike basketball ad. But I'm going Nike Squeak. I'll call it that. And then my other one, and again, I don't think this was the Super Bowl one. It was definitely viral online. Terry Tate, office linebacker.
Yep.
Is awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And I think it was Reebok, I believe, right?
Yep.
Like you kill the Joe, you make some mo.
Amazing commercial. Probably went too low here, honestly. So good.
Yeah, I wanted to take it higher, but I thought I could sneak it. Some of the other ones when he lays out the dude and he goes, "Hey, Janice," when she walks by.
That commercial is so unbelievably good.
So good.
I'm
so
a little upset
funny.
I didn't take it.
Terry Tate, office linebacker. And again, it's like a very funny premise because we've all been in an office where you're like you just want someone to absolutely level that someone for not doing or doing something in the office. It's just a classic commercial. And I think they had a couple different ones of them.
They did. They had a bunch. That had like a whole storyline. That went on for a while.
Yeah, like
he gets hurt at one point.
And like they're doing like the Hard Knocks style like interviews with him like off to the side. I think like an office kind of one-on-one. Just fantastic commercial. Again, if you haven't seen these, like they're legitimately like laugh out loud, funny things. So Terry, I had to pick Terry Tate, office linebacker. I don't think I ever bought anything Reebok, but it made me want to, so it worked almost.
That's such a good commercial. I don't know really what I want to do here.
There's
fuck it. I'm taking Scoop. There it is. Sorry, Black.
Okay. Fair.
Wow, he's
It
rough.
It has to be taken.
It's like not. It's a singular commercial, really, but fine.
So is What's Up, but maybe they're multiple. I cannot take it. Do you guys want to disqualify that?
No.
Fine with it.
I don't know.
I have other picks.
Yeah.
If you sing it, I will not disqualify it.
I mean, I could disqualify. I might just take another Geico one.
I'm fine with it. That was all right.
All right, Scoop. There it is. Not much more to say. Thanks.
I'm gonna go local again here.
Oh, I know where you're going here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm rich now.
Yeah.
I'm in it for vengeance.
Oh my God. How
Yeah.
Oh,
When you took Eastern Motors, I thought there was a very high probability you took this, and you have taken it.
Think of him.
Barry Glazer, baby, defending
Where's he
the
been?
medical malpractice and urinated upon, something of the sort.
Oh, I would take back my Scoop. There it is pick for a local thing right now. I'll just mention it in the honorable mentions.
That's the last pick, isn't it?
Where's Barry been?
If you have a phone,
Barry's
you have a
still
lawyer
doing it.
should have gotten taken in this draft. If you have a phone, you have a
That's
lawyer should have gotten
true.
taken. Yeah, I would have taken it over Scoop. There it is. If I could go back and retake it, I would do it right now.
That signs Kirk and Miles.
We signed Kirk Miles. We'll sign to Kirk now. RIP to Miles. But what if clearly? I mean, he's not on there anymore. Would have been a great pick leading into Barry Glazer. I feel bad that's not how the draft ended. RDT took What's Up? The Quiznos Sponge Monkeys, which I don't even remember, to be honest. I want my baby back ribs. Squeak basketball. Terry Tate, office linebackers, awesome value at the end. I took This Is Sports Center. The Man Your Man Can Smell Like from Old Spice. Real Men of Genius, which I probably is my best pick of the draft. The Most Interesting Man in the World, and Scoop. There it is. And Banks took the Sears Air Conditioning, Eastern Motors, and Twins, the Filet-O-Fish, and Berry Glazer. Science Crooked Miles has to be on there. Other ones I always loved the Nike MVP puppets. I always thought those stupid puppets were pretty funny of like Kobe and LeBron.
I thought that was going to get taken.
I had just all the stuff Nike did with Tiger. So like Tiger juggling, Tiger with Rory, Hello World.
Oh, Tiger juggling. That should have been on there. Everyone tried to do that.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
The Hump Day Camel, Maxwell the Pig, and the Caveman from Geico.
I wasn't high on the Caveman, to be honest.
I had the
They
Polar
remember
Bears
they
from
made that a
Coke.
show?
Yeah.
Really bad.
Off.
I'll have the roast duck with the mango salsa as an iconic commercial line, though.
I forgot about that.
I had breaking off a piece of that Kit Kat bar.
That's an all-time jingle.
I had anytime Budweiser uses a dog, they seem to thrive using cute dogs in commercials.
Except for the DUI one.
Oh yeah, that was
like terribly
I
sad.
forgot about that one. That was super sad. But the one where the puppy like escapes and gets brought back or whatever, very good commercial. I also just had Foster's Australian for beer. I always thought that was fun.
That's a great tagline.
Great tagline. Could be a tagline draft. Could do a tagline draft. Go ahead, guys.
Where's the beef? That's a real throwback. Wendy's. The Budweiser Frogs.
Mm-hmm.
That was also a big thing for a bit there.
Budweiser.
I just wrote down the Cal Ripken kidnapping commercial that everyone just kind of didn't even know happened. $5 footlong was a big rebound from the Jared era.
Mm-hmm.
That was huge for them. I had Chips Ahoy's their Chipwich, not a Chipwich, but it was a cookie that had a vanilla filling. The Smack Dab in the Middle song on that.
Smack Dab in the middle, squeeze in the middle.
Great commercial.
Smack Dab in the middle. So
yeah. I just shipped my pants.
I sung a lot on this show.
Yep, that was a classic. And I'm stunned, Taylor, that you didn't take, and I thought this might have been your local one. I'm Amazing.
Oh, yes. Yes, I forgot about I Am a Mason. I am a Mason. I don't support the Masons, but I am also a Mason. No, that's a good one. That's good. I also didn't think I should have gone through some more like kids commercials, like Crossfire comes to mind.
Crossfire.
Mr. Bucket, you put your balls in your mouth, Mr. Bucket. Like I mean that probably should have been on the board, but I just didn't think back that far. I probably should have.
You know what one I remember? There's two Zoo Books.
Mm-hmm.
Zoo Books were awesome. And then the Nickelodeon magazine commercial.
Oh, you know what? Oh my God. I should have taken Ronco, the rotisserie chicken. We should do infomercials.
Oh, I could do infomercials. Yeah. All right. Write that one down.
Set it and fucking forget it.
Yep.
Oh, what's that? Oh, I can't talk about it now. But
there's a lot of good ones. I wrote down Just Do It Nike, like any of the Nike ones. Yeah. There was a good Nike one. The where they had like Torrey Hunter, Brian Urlacher, Albert Pujols, and Big Ben was in it, and they were wearing the masks. Like I don't know if you remember that one. It's an awesome commercial. Google like Nike masks. I know that campaign commercial with the names on them. Remember when they were putting names on the bottles and cans, and people were going nuts trying to find their name and all that. Thought that was a pretty good one. This is a big one. I can't believe I missed. I actually wanted to take this one instead of Terry Tate. The Who You Calling a Cootie Queen. Orbit.
Oh, that was a great commercial.
Liquor. That was great. That was a really good one. The Six Flags Old Man.
That got very played out for me. I hate that commercial.
When it was hot, it was hot.
It was hot. It was definitely. There's no doubt. It was hot.
The LeBrons. I don't know if you remember that. It was kind of the puppets where he had the whole family LeBrons. Chicks Dig the Long Ball. Classic commercial.
Sure.
Again, not really an ad campaign.
Technically, print is an ad campaign. The Got Milk.
Mm-hmm. I had
magazine ads. Yeah,
Got Milk was my next one. And then the last one I had was Berries and Cream Starburst.
Oh,
that was all over.
Somebody thought in the office a couple weeks ago that I was just singing the Berries and Cream song. I was like, there is just no way. I do a lot of weird things, but I am not singing the Berries and Cream song.
I could see it.
There's a ton of other things we could have gone through here.
Yeah, there's a lot.
It was almost like hard to research. It was like trying to go back into your brain, and sometimes
Mhm.
you just like think of them as you go. So, also like sometimes I had like movie trailers come into my head. Those aren't really ad campaigns, but you like think about them as ads sometimes. Like,
There's
So-
the Indianapolis.
Mm.
There's some March Madness ones that are kind of recurring.
yeah. They'll leave the light on for you. Also came to my head.
What's that? What's the new one? The insurance guy who like gets fucked up every time. Like,
Oh, the Allstate guy. Yeah.
yeah. What
That's a
is he?
solid one.
What is he?
The King,
name?
the Burger
Like-
King, like 10 years ago, the one that was
The
just
Burger
like-
King was hot in the streets for a
Yeah.
while.
Yeah.
Remember when the Burger King walked out at UFC? No, did he walk out with Mayweather?
It was
Yeah, that's right.
and at the Kentucky Derby, he was behind
Yeah.
Baffert.
Yeah. That was a wild time.
What a wild, what a weird time.
I'll bring back those simpler times when I'm surprised
what
the
is it?
Burger
This-
King
we
didn't
used to be a
walk behind
proper
Trump
country.
at some point. Yeah,
That's the
Burger
tweet.
King
Used to be
behind
proper.
Mayweather. It was like the Burger King. He was like gonna, and then one time Mayweather walked out with like Triple H is like like Helio Castro Nevis, like all the people he was on Dancing with the Stars with. What a wild time in America. Good draft. We could probably do another one with 15.
That could be
different
another
ones.
5 rounds.
Yeah. Nick Cannon Medley, Maryland Person of the Week. RDT.
It's got to be Manti Te'o. We all owe him at a
Still
pot.
haven't watched it. I still haven't
Oh,
watched
you
it.
got to watch
Still
it.
haven't watched it.
Please watch it. We crucified this man, and I feel so bad for him. If you watch it, you'll obviously realize you know the story. The Netflix documentary is really, really good. It's 2 episodes, 2 hours. Like that's it, in and out. They jump into it pretty quick too. Again, I mean, we talk about America loves to rip a guy down and watch him kind of come back. They did it with Tiger. They've done it with Kobe. There's a lot of stuff in this documentary where you'll watch it and you'll go, man, like we were assholes. Like I can't believe we made that joke or we did this. I came out of that. I went into it really not having an opinion on Manti Te'o. I thought he was a good football. He was an awesome football player at Notre Dame, and I thought he was okay in the NFL. But you will come out of this being like, the amount of respect that you have for Manti Te'o, and just what he has gone through in his life is I mean, it'll change your entire thought process on it. It was such a good documentary. I can't recommend it enough. Again, 2 episodes, 2 hours. Definitely watch it if you haven't. And you will absolutely hate Naya. I don't know if it's possible to hate someone as much as I hate that person now. So give it a watch. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, I have not seen it, so I just need to see it.
I like turned it on last Thursday night, being like, oh, I'll watch it. And like Lauren was in bed, like reading. I was like, I don't really want to watch it. And like 5 minutes in, she puts her book down and is like, all right, I'm into this now. So it's called Untold, because I was searching on Netflix for like Manti Te'o, and I couldn't find it, but it's under Untold. It's the same documentary series that did the Dansbury Trashers.
I think they did the isn't that who
Tim
did
Donaghy?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
And
They're doing another one on
they did Pistons. They did Pistons
is that
Pacers,
the
I
Malice
believe so.
Malice at the Palace?
Mouse the Mouse, yeah.
There we go. I did not know that.
Banks.
Give it to the Smythe family for being such kind hosts this weekend, for the boys for a little golf trip down in Ocean City, and I will let Taylor take it away to fill in the blanks.
Sure. I'll give the Nick Cannon Banner Person of the Week to Team Europe at the Captain's Cup this weekend. They absolutely put a can of open to can. I was trying to get to that line. Open to can of whoop ass on the on Team USA.
Can I step in for a second? It's a whooping is what happened.
A whooping, yeah. 17-5. Absolutely crushed us. So shout out to Mike and you, Banks and Dugan, legend Dave O'Neill gets his name on the cup. The first native of Vermont to ever get their name on the cup. So happy for Dave. And me and my squad, that be Kyle and Alex, we took it on the chin. So congrats to you guys. Always a wonderful weekend playing with the boys. Never gets old. Fun to be competitive. I perfected how to throw a golf club in frustration this weekend, which is where you want to be. But you know, it is what it is. You take it on the chin, you move on to next year. There's going to be a blowout at some point. For listeners, this has come down to the wire the last 2 years, like down to if somebody won on a putt last year. I think I said this last week, and then the last 2 years ago came down to like 16 or 17 or whatever. This was a blowout from the beginning. So, yeah, we took it on the chin. So congrats to you guys. Outplayed us the whole weekend. Banks, you played very well. And yeah, we had a good time. Ocean City. It was beautiful all weekend too. Beautiful times.
It was.
Got to a lot of the play spots too. Got to MR Ducks, got to Mackey's, got to Secrets, got to Faggers.
We checked a lot of boxes out there.
We were on the other side of the bridge too, so not exactly like the easiest thing to do. MR Duck's pretty close, but like Uber, not like a great place to get Ubers all the time. So yeah, shout out to what do you think is the perfect Cup road at this point? Like if you're gonna pick your Cup course, we kind of exhausted all of the courses we could play in Ocean City to a certain extent.
Yeah, pretty much. I think Rum Point, Baywood Greens, but the location's not as good because it's 45 minutes away from Ocean City, and then Lighthouse Sound.
I would agree.
That's probably what I'm putting together.
Yeah,
but I think Man of War at Glen Riddle is a good stand-in.
It was good
there for Baywood Greens. So
that's the Captain's Cup. We'll see you next year. The Cup will no longer be. It was over my shoulder for a while. The last 2 years in this pod, it will not be for at least another year. So I don't know who has it now. Who has it right now, Mike?
I believe Mike has it, and he will take care of the engraving. And I'm gonna imagine it's gonna spend quite a bit of time in Vermont this year.
It should. We got to get it up. I don't know how we're gonna get it up there, but we got to get it up there. Good for Dave.
Good for Dave.
So yeah, you guys win my Nick Kidder Medley Maryland Person of the Week this week. With that said, honorable mention, trumpets. Bump, bump, bump. The Edwin Diaz song. I know it's about the Mets. I know people, we don't like New York teams here, but man, is that song a banger. I can't stop listening to it. So that's an honorable mention for me.
Thought you were going a different direction at first.
No. Very good song. Any honorable mentions from you guys?
2K Sports for bringing me down here. I opened the show talking a whole bunch about it. So shout out to them. Shout out to anybody who's going to go pre-order that game. Tell them Banks sent you.
Yeah, we got any giving away any codes?
I might have some. I don't know. We'll see. I don't want to make any promises, but there may be some codes.
If you can milk a code or two out, maybe.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. Do some. What is it called? Divot Derby.
Divot Derby.
We got it.
They didn't talk a lot about Divot Derby, to be honest, but I did ask, and I think they're expecting that to be in there again.
Good. That was fun. It's fun. I like it.
It's a very fun game. It's a very different way to play golf video games.
Yep. Grip and rip it. I had Corn because I can't stop listening to that Corn TikTok video. We talked about it before. It's just a great video. If you haven't seen it, it's all over. And another honorable mention, I'm going to toss it up. Jimmy's, because we're having a happy hour on Friday before the Orioles game. Just a casual Friday happy hour. If you're in the area, you want some 2-for-1 drinks. I think it starts at 3. So some casual 2-for-1 beers on a Friday. Wing deals, pizza deals. I think we're giving away tickets. Oriole Bird will be there. So if you're in the area,
the Oriole Bird making an appearance.
Oriole Bird's going to be there.
About the bird.
If you're in the area, you want to stop by for a beer after work, I'll be off at 2:30, and we headed up to Jimmy's right around 3, and we'll get some. We'll do a liquid lunch and hopefully watch the Orioles beat the Astros. That'll be fun. So,
gonna go back to the well here with another honorable mention. Done this before. I'm gonna give it to myself, not for the respectful ass kicking of the Captain's Cup, but more so for myself. Absolutely battling through a brutal hamstring cramp in the middle of this podcast where I got up and let you guys talk about the Orioles for a good 20 minutes. Well, I tried to hydrate and work this little cramp out. So that's what was going on there. Didn't even text or explain that to you guys, but I was kind of dying over here for a little bit. Battled through it and still got through a podcast and put together, despite a slow start, I think a very respectable starting five.
There you go. Well done by you. What a week
Thank
for you.
you. Yeah, what a week.
It's all downhill from here, maybe. But hopefully.
Yeah.
I have one honorable mention to go into business for myself, as I sometimes do. Banks just did totally, so I don't feel bad about it.
I've given it to myself the last 2 weeks too.
The Maryland men's soccer team
Yeah.
begins its season tomorrow night at Ludwig Field against number 9 New Hampshire, the number 20 Terps. That is a team that I work very closely with down in Maryland, so I like shouting them out, and hopefully we're going to have a good year this year. Ludwig Field, always a good place. If you like soccer or you have kids that like soccer or whatever, come down to a Maryland game. It's always fun. We should be good. Shout out to head coach Sasha Swarovski, Jake Pace, Miles Vaughn, all the staff. Very good people, run a very good program, and hopefully we can get some Big Ten trophies, make a deep run in the NCAA tournament. Enjoy working with those guys. So got to give them a shout out as they begin the year tomorrow. And then we play Sunday against Liberty. So Maryland sports totally back in action.
Jake Pace, River Hill kid.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
I remember that name. Yep.
Yep.
He played that. Yeah, I didn't know he was coaching.
Played at Maryland and is been on the staff for a long time. So
that's cool.
Good peoples among all the support staff, Caitlin, Ben, all the people. Bartman, John Bartman, Lala, just throwing all of our support staff out there now. Might as well give them all a shout out. So yeah, excited. Ludwig Field, 6:00 on ESPNU tomorrow. So if you hear this before, watching ESPNU, start at 6, national TV. Anybody got anything else for the good of the order here on the X52 podcast?
Isaiah Likely, nice job out there.
There you go. Love
Give him
it.
a gold jacket.
Saturday night, Commanders, Ravens, a preseason tradition. I'm sure many listeners of the show will be out at the bank to see that one, and regular season coming up soon. So very excited about that. Maryland football also coming soon. We will have to talk about that a little bit more next week as they head into their season opener against Buffalo. Could be an exciting year for Maryland football. So hopefully, all the momentum coming from the Orioles just moves into the other sports that people care about in Baltimore. That's it for this week's episode of the X52 podcast. Once again, shout out to Team Europe. You can follow Banks at Barstool Banks. You can follow Eric at EDITTI22. You can follow me at Taylor Smite 10. Follow the podcast on all the social media platforms at Exit 52 Podcast. Make sure to support all of our sponsors, Thread Level Midnight and Fed Thrill and Jimmy Seafood. I just go out and have some drinks with Eric on Friday. That sounds like a grand old time. I will not be able to make it, I don't think, RDT, but I hope many people do. Go watch all of Banks's golf content and videos and support all that he's doing. And if you want to support me, like Maryland tweets. We'll see you next time on the Exit 52 Podcast presented by Jimmy Seafood.